All right, everybody, good morning. So we are going to do a little watercolor painting as we move towards the Christmas break, just to get in another type of medium as far as painting goes. And so today what we're going to do is a line drawing that we're going to fill in with paint later. And so this is important because when you watercolor paint, the structure drawing is always important in your paintings, and so with watercolor painting, it's probably even a little bit more so, and it's a lot more beneficial for some people because the watercolor paint's see-through, so having that good drawing allows you to lay color on top of it and see where all you need to put it, whereas some other times when you paint, you cover stuff up and it gets lost. So that's kind of what the plan is today, is just to come up and be able to create and know what a highly detailed drawing would look like for your painting, okay? And so on your piece of paper here that you've gotten in class, what you're going to do is we're going to give ourselves some drawing boundaries so that we can fit the image in there without running off the page. And I'm going to be drawing a little bit darker just so you can see it, but remember, always sketch lightly so you can erase things you don't want later on. Okay, and so first off, and I'm drawing from a photograph that I've got on a Google slide for you guys. So I'm going to mark this in half, right? And so on this half, what I'm going to do is I'm going to come up here and I'm going to draw an oval. So one's going to be an apple, one's going to be a pear. It's going to look like this when we get all said and done, okay? And so with the apple, you don't want to make it a circle because an apple is typically, it's a little bit taller than it is wide for the most part. So I never really draw an apple as a circle. I always come up with like a nice oval shape like that, okay? And you want the halfway mark here because in this drawing, the apple and the pear split the area in half, more or less, okay? And so once you get that, what I'm going to do next is I'm going to come up here and I'm just going to kind of draw a line right there. Okay, and that's going to represent where the stem goes down in the apple. All right. And then I'm going to put the stem in there, and so all I'm going to do is I'm drawing shapes and lines right now just to keep it simple. Okay? So you got that. All right. And so now what I'm going to do is I am going to draw the pear. Now the pear, when you draw it, make a mark about right there. That's where the left-hand side or part of the pear is going to be. And when you draw the pear, what you are going to do here, kind of when I'm looking at my picture, the top of the pear comes to right about here, and then the bottom lines up with the apple right there. So what I'm going to do here is I am going to draw a circle. Okay? And so definitely more of a round shape than an oval. Like that, okay? And then what I'm going to do is we're going to draw the neck of the pear, and so what I'm going to do is the neck of the pear comes right about here, so I'm just going to put a mark right there, okay? Now I'm going to move it down a little bit, and then what you're going to do is from the base of your pear here, we're going to draw a triangle to represent that shape. So the base of the pear, that's where the end of the pear is, and then the other part of the neck, if you go right about a little bit above center here, just like that. Okay, and so you've got a triangle shape. All right, and then the same thing here is on the pear. If you come right about here, you're gonna make a line like that. That's the stem for the pear. Okay. So now that we got the base shapes and we got everything positioned where it's supposed to be, what I'm going to do is I'm going to come in here and I'm going to refine the shape of the pear a little bit. And so you can follow me along as I do this. I'm not going to go into too much description. I'm going to, before I actually draw curves, I'm going to draw some straight angular lines to get the turns where they need to be. Sometimes I do this, it's a good idea because drawing curves accurately is not as easy as it would seem. So if you come in and draw lines with corners just to place the change of directions. Sometimes it just works out more accurately. Even on the back of the pear, you know, it's round, but it's got some real subtle little changes of direction. And it's just easier if you put those little straight lines and then corner them, right? Okay, and so I got my pear here, and the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to shape the apple up. And so I'm going to draw this line straight across here, and it's not too far across, and so you can see what I'm going to do is I'm going to stop short here. I'm going to come up here, kind of the same thing. I'm going to find where my apple changes angles. And this apple has a little bit of a point on top. And come back around here. And once I get that, I'm going to erase some lines. So I'm going to get rid of these things that kind of get in the way of my drawing right here. It's pretty shape. Looks like a bird, right? And so on this, now that I got those in, what I'm going to do is I am going to go in and I'm going to round off my corners. So I'm going to transition these things by just, if there's a sharp, like a corner in it, I'm just going to go in and round that off a little bit. But don't lose your line direction as you do that. And at the pear, it's got a little bit of a buckle in here, so I'm going to come back and just like that. Okay, so that's looking pretty good. Same thing with your apple. If you got a little corner on there, just come in and round it off. Okay. Now my apple, what I'm going to do, my little placement here, I'm going to go in here. It's actually, it kind of dips down and it kind of does a little round turn to it. So I'm going to add that niceness to it. And then here on the core, what I do is I take that line and then I give it a second side to where it's almost like a rectangle, and then I just come up here and draw a circle. Same thing on my pear. Well, I've got my line showing where it goes. I'm just going to draw a circle down here and do something like that. All right, now it's looking good. Next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to draw the shadow, because this has a light source on it. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to draw the area where the shadow is. So the shadow, the easiest part is the shadow comes from where the pear hits the ground right there, and then I'm just going to draw a line out, and it's going to drop right where the pear stem touches the ground, and then I'm going to come back this way. Okay, I'm going to just shape it up like that. So this is the pear shadow, and then when you get on the back side of here, this comes straight out, and then there's a little bit of a shadow back here, so I'm going to put that little shape right there. It's almost like a triangle. Okay, and then same on the apple over here, because the light looks like in the picture it's coming down, and so I'm going to put like a little triangle right there on the outside of that, and then the apple gets that shadow right there. And then also there's a little shadow for the apple, right, that goes in here. So boom. Can't really see where the apple finishes because it's right behind the pear right there. Right? And so that's in good shape. All right. And my next step is there's a light shining on this image, and so there's some fruit is a lot of times it's shiny, it's real slick, and so you get some reflections of light, but they're kind of dull. They're not real sharp like plastic, but they're very close. And so what I'm going to do here is I'm going to draw the one on the apple, okay? And so the important thing here is when you draw this one right here, it's squarish, but because the apple's curved, that has to have a little bit of a curve to it because this shape is doing this, right? Now as you get closer in the middle, it's straight, but it starts to round as you go that way. And so you've got to put a little bit of roundness in there, right? And then the same thing for this one over here. This one's right up against the edge. It's a little bit smaller, but it's going to have a little bit of a curve in it as well. And you actually have another one right here that's very light. But you can see I've curved that line to follow the contour of the apple. Right. Okay, and then you're going to have some over here on the pear, and they're a little different. They're more this, because the light's hitting on this like strange curve in the pear. It's almost got like a small shape of a pear right here, right? And it looks a little bit like it bends in because on the pear it actually kind of does right here. It has a little bit of a dip, right? So it's always going to, whatever the form is for the object, if that thing is laying on top of that certain area, it's going to follow that curve. And so we got one more right here. We're going to highlight right here and give it a little bit of a curve because it's coming down like so. And it ends, and then you've got a second one that comes like all the way down, follows the contour of the neck like this, and so. And these are still very geometric. As we paint, they'll change. Right? And then we got one here too. So where that little shape is on the top of the apple, you've got that thing, and you've got a couple of more here that you'll be able to see. I'm also going to add in the shadow shape on here because there's some areas like the apple looks like it may be sitting on a table because it's got this line that kind of cuts, it's very faint, it kind of cuts across it right here. You can draw it if you like, if you do just real light. And then it's got this kind of dark shape that fits like right in between right there. And then it's got this really, what's really cool about this is like the apple's so shiny, it has a shape here. And what it's doing, it's reflecting the actual image of the pear. These are all like reflections of like lights overhead, maybe windows. That looks like some kind of a table surface, right? But yeah, the pear, in your painting, you'll see this, and this will be one of those things that makes it look really cool. The pear actually reflects into the apple shape, and since the apple shape doesn't have a lot of crazy colorization on it, you can see it fairly clearly. And then also down here, you're going to draw a line from here, and you're going to go right there. You're going to create like a shadow right there. All right. And then, same thing over here, I'm going to draw a shape at the bottom of the pear, and that's going to end right about there. So that's like that bottom of the pear where the light's not really hitting. Okay. You can also, there's like this colorization, the pear's all red and speckly over here, and it's just kind of plain yellow, and there's kind of a boundary where that happens right there. You can put that there. There's a little bit of a shadow up here. Right. And so that is a nice base drawing for your painting. All right, you can come up if you need to, depends on how clean you want it. You can come up and clean it up. All right, so there's your drawing that we're going to use to actually paint later this week. I'll have a Canvas assignment up for it, and you can submit them if you weren't in class today to draw them. So appreciate it. Good luck, and we'll see you during the painting demo. Bye.